All right, guys, so I'm back with a video here, and I found this one really interesting. It's a short story. I'm going to go ahead and link it in the description. You can buy it on Amazon, actually, and I really like this story. So, this is kind of my adaptation of that story, just telling it how the story goes, but also how kind of I see it and I explain things. And I'm going to do more videos like this. I'm going to do different genres. I might choose like a day to do horror or something like that. So if you see one you might not like, just look out for the next one, and that might be something you're really into. So if you like this, please, I humbly ask you to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, all that stuff, so that way you know when my videos come out. I'm really trying to put full effort in this. Not only for myself but for you guys out there, and I hope you guys like what I'm doing here. And if you do, you guys know what to do, and I appreciate it very much. So this video starts out with this guy, and this guy, as far as I can tell, is kind of a loner. Never really had love in his life, never been in love. But one day he met this woman. Her name was Lily, and he just fell in love with her. And before you know it, 3 years later, they had become married. So now it's 8 years later. They've been together, loving each other so much. And, if Lily told him that the sky was red, it was red. And if it wasn't red, in his mind, he would paint it red. So that's how much he loved her, and he did not even know what love was. It's just really kind of like a true love story. He really does love her. They've been together 8 years now, and it's been a beautiful time together. So now that it's 8 years later, and they've been in love, it's been ecstatic, it's been a wonderful 8 years, and they still love each other just as much as when they really love at first sight just met, to now 8 years later. So they decide they were going to have a child, and they have a daughter, and they name that daughter Dorothy. Now, they chose the name Dorothy because Lily's grandmother's name is Dorothy, and they wanted to keep that name in the family. So they named her Dorothy, and it's a beautiful family. Everybody's happy. So it's a little while later now. They're all together, they're happy, everything like that. But one morning, he wakes up, typical morning. She wakes up right next to him, but she's distressed. She's sweating. She just kind of wakes up frantic, and he's like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "I have to tell you something. I have to tell you something. I've been hiding it since their daughter was born." And she was so frantic, and he thought that she was joking, and he was you know kind of dumbfounded. He didn't know really what was going on. Now that he sees in her eyes that she's not joking, that nothing is going on, some kind of prank, or she's just waking up being silly or anything like that, he wants to know what's going on. He can see it in her eyes, and she just tells him, "You're the only one that I can trust, and you're the only one that will understand, hopefully." So he's just confused. He doesn't know what's going on, but he says, "Darling, please tell me what's going on." The love of his life. He wants to help her or comfort her in her time of need for what is happening to her. So again, he asks, "Darling, darling, what's wrong? What is going on?" And she responds with just her lips trembling, just pouring sweat, "I can see things in the future." And he's just, "You're psychic, like, I don't understand." And she's still trembling, goes on, "I've been hiding it since the pregnancy. I've been keeping it to myself, and it's just some kind of gift that's come with our daughter, ever since she's been born." And he's like, "Well, do you really think it's a gift, like a gift from God, or where do you think this has come from?" And he explains that they're basically atheists. They don't believe in God or a higher power or anything like that. So he's super confused. wants to know what's going on. Now that he's come to see that something is going on, but in his eyes she can see, you don't believe me. You don't believe what's going on. And it's true. I can see the future. I can see it. And I know that that is unbelievable, but I see these people and I see these things and they always happen. Everything that I see always ends up happening, and I've been keeping this in to myself this whole time. And the reason today that I have to tell you what has woken me up is that I've seen something horrible. So she goes on to tell him that his mother is going to die the next day, and that since everything she says comes true, that he needs to go see his mother right away. That he has to go. He has to just go and go see his mother. So he's starting to freak out. What are you saying? Like, why would you say such a thing like that? And she says, you have to go. You have to go see her before this happens. And, he doesn't know what to believe, but, she's so adamant about, you have to go and this is real. I can see the future, that he goes and he leaves. And it's quite a long drive. He decides he's going to drive. It's about a 4 or 5 hour drive to see his sister and his mother. So he starts driving. Along the way he's contemplating what is really going on, but he loves his wife so much. He can't not believe her, but then he doesn't know if he can believe anything that strange, that she's psychic, she can see the future, all this way 3 hours in. And then suddenly he gets a call, and the call is from his mother's sister, and she says that your mother died today. She fell in the shower and she instantly died from a severe concussion. And now, after the grief has hit him, he's just distraught, but he realizes that his wife, she does have this psychic ability. Since their daughter was born, it can't be a coincidence. As he's there, he's just dumbfounded. He doesn't know what to do. After, the grief, everything like that, he went home. He's accepted that his wife is psychic, and that, accepted everything that's going on. Lily's continued on having these visions, and they're of minor things, like what is he gonna see or do at work the next day, to what type of present he might get her for Christmas, or he's thought about getting her for Christmas, or he's got hidden away. Just a lot of little stuff. And over time, they've just kind of learned to live with it. For the most part, besides, something horrible happening, another person passing away, one of their close friends getting fired or something like that, they've just learned to go on happy in love with him, Lily, and their daughter Dorothy. Starting to mellow out. He asked her, like, why did you never tell me this before? She reiterates that, she didn't know she had any type of gift. It was only when their daughter was born. And even at first, she wasn't making the connections that this was happening in her dream, and then, it was happening the next day. More times passing, he's happy. He believed everybody was happy. They were all kind of inseparable, and majority of their time was spent together, and Dorothy and Lily would just constantly be together and playing together and learning and reading and doing everything. And, this brought such happiness and joy to his life. He never believed that he could be that happy. It was a happiness that he couldn't even fathom earlier before he had met Lily. Now, from many years of happiness, things take a turn, and unfortunately their daughter Dorothy ends up passing away, and she ends up passing away from a horrible heart condition, and that's just led both of them into terrible despair. He knew that he had to be strong for her, and always keep his head up for her, and always have a shoulder for her to cry on. And she spent most of her day either crying from the morning she woke up to when they went to bed. And he himself would stay strong when he was in the presence of her, But just being a father like that, he would end up going into rooms and just breaking down. Couldn't help but cry over his daughter. And it was just a horrible, horrible time. And a lot of nights he would cry himself to sleep with her crying herself to sleep on his shoulder. It was just something that happened that just turned the whole world upside down. And it went from such happiness for so many years to just such despair. Now their perfect life was over, their happiness was over, and now they had to live with the despair of losing their daughter, and things just never got any better. Lily just continued to spiral downhill. She wouldn't go out of the house anymore. She stopped eating. Something really broke in her. He realized that just wasn't going to be fixed, or at least fixed easily in that case, and she was just broken after their daughter Dorothy had died. He continued to be, the shoulder to cry on, trying to keep everything together. It was misery for him, not only that his daughter had died, but it's even more so misery that now he has to see his beloved wife, the woman he loves, in just such despair and just not able to eat and not able to function in life. And it really started to tear him down and tore him apart. Dorothy being gone, he's really reflected back at the times of their life when they were so happy together and everything was happiness. Everything had just fallen apart. And another thing that happened when she lost Dorothy, she also lost her vision. She lost that gift. And once in a while he would catch her trying to see if she can get a vision, but she lost that gift. It really was a connection of when she was born, and now that she's not there, she's just lost that wonderful gift as well. So now they don't even have the happy things that came out of having those visions when Dorothy was there. So now that they've become this depressed, sad, lonely couple, weeks have been passing. He just sees this soulless person out of his wife. She's just not there anymore. Gotten even worse over time. And then suddenly one day his wife comes to him and says, I had a vision that the neighbor's dog was going to die. It's been a long time now, but she's happy and he's happy for her, and he's happy to see her happy, though that goes away pretty quickly. Well, let's see what happens. The dog is supposed to die the next day. The next morning, he comes out to the kitchen and he sees a smile that he hasn't seen on Lily's face for so long, and the smile is about the dog dying. She's so happy she's gotten at least her gift back and is so ecstatic, and he hasn't seen that since before their daughter has passed. It's revived their souls. She's so happy, saying, I have my gift back. He's trying to process everything. She hugs him and they hug each other. She had pulled away and looked at him and was looking in his eyes and said, you don't believe me? He says, yes, of course I believe you. I love you. And he kisses her and she kisses him back. But even after this kiss, there's still something wrong. There's still something off. He's looking into her eyes and there's still something off. Something's still going on. He doesn't quite understand, but he's just going with it. And as he's continued to go on with it, a few days have passed. Every day has gotten just a little bit better, way better than it was before. She seems to be really happy that at least now she has her gift back. After those few days, she comes to him and tells him that my brother is going to die. Now her brother was really abusive. He was kind of a leech of a person, really low life, and always taking advantage of people, her and family and their mom and dad. And because of that, she couldn't be happier that she had that vision that he was going to die. Now he questions her. This isn't some kind of fantasy of yours. You're not he just wants to make sure that this was a real vision and this isn't just something coming out of pure hatred or dislike or something like that. And she straight looks at him and she says, no, he's gonna die. He does die. and it turns out he actually got murdered. He was stabbed multiple times. Now, the police are doing an active investigation, obviously, because this was a murder. They come to talk to Lily, and Lily just seems unfazed. He couldn't help but notice that she just had the biggest smile on her face, just from ear to ear. And, he didn't really know what was going on. He believes it's because he was a horrible person, bad person, did horrible things to her, an abusive person, basically did horrible things to everybody in the family. So he wasn't too surprised, but he had never seen that smile on her face before, even when the police had told her, the circumstance of everything that happened. She still was smiling ear to ear. They went ahead and finished their investigation with them. Lily's getting happier. She's eating. She's starting to be more herself. She has her gift back. This horrible person is permanently, out of her life and gone. More time goes by. Not too long. A guy that nobody likes this guy. They call him Big Mouth Billy. Just not a great guy. Nobody in the neighborhood likes him. Nobody has for years. He's always just kind of been that guy. She says, you know what? He's gonna die. The next day, they found him with a knife in his spine. For her, happiness, because her visions are still coming through, and it's not so much as little small things anymore. Now it's big things like that versus before. He is just happy. He's happy that she is happy. He sees that even though he would never think that he would see his wife being happy about someone being murdered, he knew that they were horrible people, they weren't good people, and that having that gift is going to make her happier. Thought that he'd see it in such a way, especially people that they knew that were only miles or blocks away were getting murdered like this. It was definitely a different circumstance than most people would think of happiness, but really it's all that they had left. It's all that they could look forward to was the gift, and it just so happened to be nice that it wasn't people that they loved, like in the past, it was these horrible people. At this point in time, it does seem a little strange. These people she wasn't really fond of that are passing, they just happen to be people in her dream that I don't know what's going on, but it's a strange coincidence that these people are now dying, and it just happened to be by murder. And it's people that she's not fond of and that he knew that she really disliked. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking, well, she's got to be the murderer, right? She's got to be. Well, he knew that she wasn't capable of things like that. Even people that she was extremely not fond of, like her brother, Loudmouth Billy. But he knew that it couldn't be her because of that. How does he know that? How does he know that she's not the killer? The coincidences are just too much. It's just too much there. It's the same thing as when his mother passed, that, she told him, sure enough, go the next day, and it happened. So how does he know? Well, he knows she's not the killer. He'll tell you this. He'll tell you that it was easy to poison a dog, and it was easy to stab 2 men to death, because I will do anything for the love of my life and to see my Lily happy. And he will do anything to make her happy and fulfill any vision that she might have to make sure that she is happy and she is smiling, and he sees that happiness on her face every day. And if she were to say, you were to die tomorrow, you right there, then you would die. Just like he said at the beginning, if she says the sky is red, he will paint it red. And that was the end of the story. And I'll tell you what, it really got me. I was right there at the end when I was reading it. I still didn't think it was him. I still thought it was her. I thought some crazy twist of how he's going to figure out that she's the killer was it, but that didn't happen. So it completely, for me anyway, went the other way. I'm sure there's some people that kind of saw it coming. I really enjoyed it. If you guys want to get that book. I'm going to link that down below. I'm not getting any kickback for it. I just really like that short story. And if you guys like this video and you have any critiques, leave them down below. Want to make these better for you guys. Once again, please like, subscribe. I humbly ask you guys, please do hit the bell, all that good stuff. I definitely appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.